Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. We got the same setup that we've had for a while now. Before we get into the second Black Jumpstart deck that I have built, I wanted to say thank you to one of the viewers who commented on the Digimon deck that I had built. Digimon is not holding Tonfas like I thought. They are called Tekos, which are similar to like brass knuckles. They could have some extra flair like these ones here, at least that's what I found out with my limited research after being told what they were. So thank you again for pointing that out. It's good knowledge so I'm not accidentally saying things that are wrong. I always like having more knowledge because it's good to properly inform people. I don't like misinforming people. So again, thank you very much for pointing that out. Without further ado, let's get into the second Black Jumpstart deck that I've built. So this one I built, and it's because I used a Digimon where it's like normally red, sometimes yellow, and it got some later support to make it a completely different color, and that's what I kind of wanted to do. I wanted to get away from like the stereotypical, this is the color that you think of it. So yeah, without further ado, and letting you know what it is, we've got the two Digi-Eggs, which are Koromon. This is from the BT11, and it has the inherent effect of opponent's turn once per turn. When an opponent's Digimon is deleted, if this Digimon has Greymon in its name, draw one card from your deck. So yeah, this right here tells us we're building a Greymon deck. Again, I normally see Greymons in red or yellow, and they did give it some black support, and I was like, ooh, let's do that. So we have made one where it is out of its normal color, which I think is a fun little idea for a Jumpstart deck. Just so that like it's different. It's not like, oh, they pulled out the red one. This is all going to be about attacking. Next up, we have got the rookies. And we've got 4 copies of the Agumon from BT8. He is a 3 play cost, 0 Digivolution cost, 2000 DP. He can Digivolve from either black or red, so there's some splashability with red in here. On play, reveal the top 4 cards of your deck. Add 1 card with Greymon in its name and 1 card with Dragonkin in its traits among them to your hand. Place the remaining cards at the bottom of the deck in any order. No inherited effect. So this one we're going to majorly play out on the field, allow us to search our deck. This is another one that's going to go really good with the Tyrannomon deck that we built, because they're going to have like, they might be Dinosaur, I can't remember, but maybe they have Dragonkin in there. I would say it would go good with our other Black Jumpstart deck, the Justimon one, but we're not mixing same colors. That is kind of a rule that I have put forth, so that won't happen. The other rookie we've got is the Agumon X Antibody from BT11. 4 play cost, 0 Digivolution cost, 3000 DP. Digivolve 0 from Agumon. On player, when Digivolving, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. Add 1 card with Greymon or X Antibody in its name, and place 1 Black Tamer among them to your hand. Place the rest of the cards at the bottom of the deck in any order. Inherited effect. All turns, when this Digimon with Greymon or Omnimon in its name would be deleted or returned to your hand or deck by an effect by placing 1 X Antibody from this Digimon's Digivolution cards at the bottom of its owner's deck. Prevent this Digimon from leaving play. So yeah, this gives it some staying power, while this Digimon still has Greymon in its name, which it should, unless we've gotten one of those very few, like with the green deck, where it could become Rust Tyrannomon, which would make it lose its effect. So that's there. But the Digivolve 0 from Agumon, that also means that in that same deck, we could have the green Agumon out. We could play this one on top of it. That would work. It's just some extra splashability into that other color. I could also work in, I guess, the red a bit. Maybe if we could get that one to go from black to red, it could work. But next up, we have got 4 copies of the Greymon from BT 8. This is a 5 play cost, 2 Digivolution cost from black or red, so again, might work there. 6,000 DP. Opponent's turn, no active effect, inherited effect of opponent's turn. While you have a red Digimon in play, this Digimon gains blocker. So yeah, good one for comboing with red. It's not going to do us any good otherwise. This is basically just a vanilla in those cases. But I wanted to put it in the deck. However, I do say that it would be useless without being comboed with red. We do have 1 copy of the Greymon X Antibody from BT11. So this one would work with it. Initially, I had put more copies of this in the deck. But if I remember correctly, this is one of the cards that is limited to 1 copy. So as much as I would like to have 3 copies of these, 2 copies of these, to kind of get that ability to work more often, legally, I cannot. If I was just playing this at home with some friends and I wasn't too worried about these restrictions, I could do that. You could do that if you want to rebuild these decks and have fun with them. You could totally put 2 copies of this and 3 copies of the normal Greymon. Just know that in that case, you can't bring it to an actual tournament. I don't know why you would, because these are going to be very janky. But just so you know, I wanted to keep with all the rules, because I did make that mistake when I was building these 2 decks, and I accidentally put in some cards that weren't legal in normal space. So this Greymon has a 5 play cost, 3 Digivolution cost from black or red, 6,000 DP. It is dual color black-red. Digivolve 0 from Greymon. Your turn. When this Digimon would Digivolve into a card with Greymon in its name, reduce the cost by 1 for each of that card's colors. Inherited effect. All turns. When this Digimon with Greymon or Omnimon in its name would be deleted or returned to the hand or deck by effect by placing 1 X antibody from this Digimon's Digivolution cards at the bottom of its owner's deck, prevent this Digimon from leaving play. So again, gives it some more staying power, even if we have to remove this one to activate that effect. That is a thing that I believe we could do. But we should have some Agumon X antibodies that we could also sacrifice for this effect. Now we're on to the Ultimates, and we have got 3 copies of the BT12 Metal Greymon. 8 play cost, 3 Digivolution cost, 7,000 DP, has Reboot as its main ability, inherited effect. Your turn, while this Digimon has Reboot, it gains security attack +1. So we haven't seen anything give Reboot yet, which means the Megas themselves have to have Reboot for these cards to be worthwhile. And let's take a look at those Megas. Starting off, we have got Black War Greymon. This is from the BT5 set. 11 play cost, 4 Digivolution cost, 12,000 DP, has security attack +1, and it has the Reboot effect. So there we go. We immediately get to activate this one's effect, so it actually gets to check 3 cards instead of just 2 from its normal effect. Something I would like to see is, like, this is from the earlier sets where they just get the gold around it. I'd like to see them reprint these and actually give them nice full shines for the rares. Because I know they did that for the super rares, but for the earlier sets, the rares just had this gold, which I enjoyed at the time. I think I complained when they swapped over. But it's grown on me that I really like that extra shine to them. So I would like to see these cards get that same kind of love and attention to have full-on shiny art. Speaking of full-on shiny art, we got our other Mega, being Gaiamon, who is a 13 play cost, 5 Digivolution cost from black or red, 13,000 DP, is dual color black-red. Digivolve 2 from Black War Greymon. So he could Digivolve on top of our other boy. This card / Digimon is also treating as having Greymon in its name. Security attack +1, has Reboot. When Digivolving, if this Digimon has a black Digivolution card, de-Digivolve one of your opponent's Digimon. If this Digimon has a red Digivolution card, it gains Blitz. So yeah, this deck is going to be very well paired with one of the red decks. Ideally, it would be paired with the Agunimon deck, because there are a couple ones in there that have Greymon in their names that could help with this. Even though some of those specifically say can't include XXXX. But I don't think any of them really overlap here. And now we get on to the Tamers. And starting off, we have got Izzy and Joe from the 6th set. 4 play costs. Start of your turn. If your opponent has 2 or more Digimon in play, gain 2 memory. Opponent's turn. When one of your black Digimon is deleted, suspend this Tamer to trigger draw 1 card. Security, play this card without paying the memory cost. So yeah, this one's going to be one where, like, if your opponent has 2 or more Digimon, gain 2 memory. Like, that's going to be pretty easy, especially in this kind of jank format. That shouldn't be too hard, where you are not focusing so much on Digivolutions, but more just playing stuff out to make things work. Shouldn't be too difficult. And then the other Tamer, which I wish I had put first, was Yui, and that's because he's the one, 4 play costs. This is from BT11. Start of your turn, if you have 2 memory or less, set your memory to 3. I like putting those ones ahead. Forgot this time. Oops. Your turn. When one of your Digimon digivolves into a Digimon with Greymon in its name by suspending this Tamer, that Digimon gets plus 2000 DP until the end of your opponent's turn. If it digivolves into a same level Digimon, it isn't affected by your opponent's option cards until the end of your opponent's turn. Security, play this card without paying the cost. So here we have a reason why we would digivolve Gaimon on top of Black War Greymon. Because there's not too much of a reason otherwise, because Black War Greymon doesn't get to add its abilities on top of Gaimon. There's not some special text where Gaimon says, like, oh, if it's got a level 6, it keeps those abilities. So you're really just putting one on top of the other, which is kind of meh. But in this case, we could totally do that, where it gives us a reason so that it is not affected by your opponent's option cards for not just our turn, but for our opponent's turn as well. So we could swing into their security cards. They've got an option card, it's unaffected. They can't get rid of it that next turn. So this gives it a little reason to do a same level Digivolution, which in some cases, like, there's not a good reason to do that. So I like this card because it gives it a reason. Getting into the option cards, we have 1 copy of Metal Cannon. A 2 play cost. Main, choose one of your Digimons with X antibody in its traits. Then draw 1 for each of that Digimon's Digivolution cards. Security, add this card to its owner's hand. So yeah, this one we can really only do up to, I believe, that'd be the Greymon X antibody. So at most we'd be able to draw 2 off of it. But it's not that big of a price, and maybe we could stall out our opponent a bit if they don't have one of the Tamers down that it says if you have 2 or less memory, set it to 3. If we're at like 1 or 0, this would be a good card to just kind of like notch it over just a bit. And then of course, as with all the decks, we've got blank memory boost. This one's black memory boost. I'm not going to go over it again. You can pause if you want to read it, or you can watch some of our other videos where we go over this one a little more in depth. But yeah, no need to go over it. Pause if you want to read it. And moving on. Then we got 1 copy of Beast Cyclone. 3 play cost. This is from BT3. So very long ago. Main, all of your Digimon with blocker or reboot gain security attack +1. Security, add this card to your hand. So this one's not as great, but the idea of we've got our big guys have reboot, so that'll give us security attack +1. Great. Just for that 3 play cost. And we could go from like 3 to 4 security attack. Perfectly good. Then we got a card that I can't say, which is this one. This is from the BT8 set. For 4 play cost, main Digivolve one of your opponent's Digimon. Then you may place 1 card with X antibody in its traits from your hand as the bottom Digivolution card of one of your black Digimon with X antibody in its traits to delete one of your opponent's Digimon with a play cost of 4 or less. So here's one where you can pair better with, what was it? The first option card we looked at, Metal Cannon, because we could have that Greymon X antibody. We could play this down for memory, de-Digivolve one of theirs, put another Agumon X antibody underneath it, and be able to then use Metal Cannon to draw, I think it's 3 cards instead of 2 cards at that point, giving us a little better option. It's not amazing. Again, these aren't meant to be like super great competitive decks. I didn't want that. So having a little jank in these decks, it's fine. If need be, if you want to remake these at home, you could swap them out. Put some better cards in. For example, you could take that one out and put an extra copy of Catastrophe Cannon in, which is a 4 play cost main trigger de-Digivolve 2 on one of your opponent's Digimon. And the rest of it doesn't really matter, because then if you have a Diaboromon in play, you may play 1 Diaboromon token without paying the memory cost. None of that's going to happen because there are no Diaboromons in this deck, or any of the decks for that matter. Security, activate this card's main effect. This one is just meant to de-Digivolve 2 of something, so we could swap one of these out for one of these, or vice versa, depending on what you think. I like this one better because it's a de-Digivolve 2 instead of a de-Digivolve 1. I don't feel the rest is going to be very useful unless we pair it up with the X antibody deck. That could happen. The final card, which I had to put in here because it fits, we've got Gaia Reactor. 6 play cost, main, choose one of each player's Digimon with the highest play cost. Delete all other Digimon. Security, activate this card's main effect. So this one is just kind of an equalizer. So if you just got out your big beefy guy, if your opponent is kind of trying to steamroll you, play this one down and be like, all right, we've both just got that 1 Digimon. And it's going to slow them down incredibly. Again, I think this one's going to be very good in this kind of format because there is jank. So we are going to be playing down more Digimon, I imagine, rather than just Digivolving off 1. So this could be very useful for this format. With that said, we are through the second Black Jumpstart deck. Before we head out, as we like to do, we've got another one of these special release memorial pack openings. So we've seen Ties Growing Up. Any of the other 3 would be great. I would like one of those. Just so that we can see some other ones in here. And we've got, 75% chance of that happening. So there we go. And we've got another Ties Growing Up. Really? Okay. We've looked at this already, but 0 play cost. Main, if you have a tie in play, you may place one of your Agumon cards at the bottom of its owner's deck to trigger draw 3. Trash that Digimon's Digivolution card. Security, add this card to its owner's hand. So this is the 3rd one that I have owned. I hope they're not all this. Like, we got 2 more chances to pull something else. Hopefully they're not all ties. That would be kind of unfortunate. I suppose then I could put all 4 in a deck and get some consistency from it. But yeah, there we go. So that is the Greymon black deck that I built. Let me know in the comments down below what you think of it. If you have any ideas for future videos, let me know in the comments down below. One of the great things is that my friend is going to be coming over within the next couple weeks, probably. I taught him how to play this game, and so that'll be a nice, safe situation because he's played Jumpstart as well. We can try and do Digimon Jumpstart, and I'll let you guys know how that works out. So yeah, stay tuned, and I'll put that in a future video to let you know how these decks work. As always, if you like the video, give it a good old thumbs up, hit that like button. If you haven't, please do subscribe. I really do appreciate it. It helps the channel grow. We upload videos on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And as always, until then, I will see you next time.